our side, it could be product development. Have you seen any, or are there any examples where you guys have been listening to the conversations out there and changed packaging, come up with a new product, anything like that?
No, we changed. We actually debuted a Brisk can at South by. We heard from the community of Brisk that Instagram was huge, that a lot of people were sharing. So we did a crowdsourced can from Instagram. So you basically send your Instagram photo to a hashtag, and we created a can which reflected our consumers. So yeah, we're moving on that stuff a lot. But I just want to come back because I think it's not just second screen, but I think it's connected TV in general that's going to change. And I don't think we know the answer of what it's going to be, but it's only a moment of time where your Twitter stream will run alongside the Yankees beating the Red Sox game, and people will be able to, oh, boo, too soon! People will.
No riots.
Yeah,
we don't want to
exactly.
send any riots here.
And people will be sending very vulgar comments to @ValB that I'll be watching scroll down. And the funny thing is, who is it going to be? Is it going to be the cable manufacturers? Is it going to be Samsung that just created open API for every single TV? So we don't really know where that innovation is going to come from. But to answer your question directly, yes, we constantly take what we see from our conversation from our community, and we integrate that, and we're trying more and more to be better at integrating that into our business. And even more than that, we have 300,000 employees across the world. We're trying to get 300,000 employees participating, listening, and engaging with customers, and also bringing that knowledge that they are hearing back from the space into the organization. I think that that's the only way organizations succeed.
So just on that, maybe that could be the final question, is like, it's kind of a what next question. Wendy described the situation where she's trying to get her volunteers to kind of become active in helping to listen and engage on behalf of American Red Cross. You just mentioned you've got 300,000 employees around the world, obviously big fans of the brand, love being there. What is the process? How do you see that rolling out over the next year, 2 years, that kind of thing, to get that out there and take full advantage of those folks?
Yeah, so we're embarking on a pretty aggressive internal education platform, which is basically training. It's more than training. It's actually encouragement. So we are actually actively encouraging people to participate on behalf and providing guidelines as well as content and explanation. And some of the things that we hear from most people is that, oh, wow, we didn't know that the organization really would trust us to be ambassadors. I think that that's a common theme across. I think people are just concerned that, oh, we might say something that might be wrong.
Right.
And that's one of the things that we're trying to overcome, which is purely by encouraging people to share. Because at the end of the day, these are the people who care about your brands the most.
Right.
And why wouldn't you want them sharing?
Absolutely. Well, on behalf of everyone, I want to thank Bonin for joining us today. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, man. So maybe, Lisa, we can cue the final video. Our final guest.
Hello, ladies. Look at your man. Now back to me. Now back at your man. Now back to me. Sadly, he isn't me. But if he stopped using lady-scented body wash and switched to Old Spice, he could smell like he's me. Look down. Back up. Where are you? You're on a boat with the man your man could smell it. What's in your hand? Back at me. I have it. It's an oyster with 2 tickets to that thing you love. Look again. The tickets are now diamond. Anything is possible when your man smells like Old Spice and not a lady. I'm on a horse.
I'm going to do a special introduction, or I'll do my best version of it. So get the camera, just kind of zoom in on me. I'm going to do the best I can here. All right. Are we ready? Not too close. That's not good. All right, that's too close. Still too close. Back up a little bit. All right, good. Ladies, look at me. Now look away. Now back at me, please. Sadly, I am not Isaiah. But he's here. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Isaiah Mustafa. Thanks, man. Welcome. Yeah, of course. I know, that was really bad. I'm going to pale in comparison for the rest of this interview, I'm sure. So.
Is that yours, or do we... Okay.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Good. So I'm sure that one of the biggest questions that everyone has, and by the way, folks, The shot of Isaiah without his shirt is on the screen is all you're going to get today. It's in the contract, sorry. But one of the questions that everyone has is really, did you expect this, from a personal experience, did you ever think it was going to be the way it is right now?
Let me see. That's a very good question. Yes and no.
Yeah.
I'll get into that. And real quickly, is James Moorhead here? Is he sitting out there by any chance? No? All right. Well, in spirit he's here because James is everywhere I go.
Okay.
Technically.
Yeah.
There was a moment during the shooting of the first commercial where I was sitting on a box, and in the bathroom set that goes up in the air was above me, and the director Tom was getting a lighting fixture or doing something. So I was sitting on the box, and my mind was kind of wandering, and I'd been there for probably a good 15 to 20 minutes. And for whatever reason, I felt like standing up because I was tired of sitting. But the bathroom set came down and like crushed the box that I was sitting on.
Oh man!
But it just missed me by like a milla hair or whatever.
Yeah.
And I turned around and everybody looked and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And at that moment, I thought, well, this commercial's got to do something big, right?
That's right.
I thought, well, I didn't die, so hopefully something happens. But how it took off and how everything kind of snowballed from there, I don't think anybody could predict that, even with the video responses. It seemed like one thing just kind of built on the next.
Yeah. So, were you doing acting before this? I know that football was your first career. So when did you kind of switch into this? How did this kind of come to be from that perspective?
Yeah, football was my failed career. In 2000, I stopped playing. I got cut from the Seattle Seahawks, and I stopped playing football. And I went home to open a restaurant.
Okay.
And I lasted 6 months in the restaurant business, and then that was that. So after that, I went home. I was actually to a friend's house, and I was kind of like sleeping on a couch because I'd lost just about everything. And I'd always wanted to be an actor, and I just thought, like, now's the time. Why not do it now when there's nothing else? You don't have anything else kind of pulling you back. So somewhere around 2000 is when I started acting.
Now, so what were some of the roles then you had in the early days from that perspective?
Oh, really?
We got the bug. Can you remember the?
Let's list them.
Okay.
Okay. Office Depot guy.
Okay. So Old Spice guy was not the first?
No. I'll tell you a funny story about that. But then there was Cop 1. Newlywed husband. That was one of them. And there's another one like that. That was like Cop 3 or something. But I mean, you can look at it.
So always descriptive roles.
And always law enforcement. For some reason, I was FBI, a bailiff. That was bailiff.
Bailiff.
That's what it was.
Not Bailiff 1.
No, there was only one. There was only me. So.
So one of the things I thought was really interesting about this commercial, the first one that came out, if you think about it, you walked a really fine line in terms of comedy at the same time of not going one way or the other. And I'll explain that in the fact that if you think about the first, say, 10 seconds, you say, in some ways, you insult guys because it's like, you're not like me from that perspective. And at the same time, it's like, your man doesn't smell like me. But and you become very endearing. All from a guy's perspective, it's like, we like you in that commercial from that perspective. And women obviously like you, right? Yes. So you've walked this really cool comedic line. Now, was comedy always something that you always had ahead when you were growing up, the different roles that you had? Or is this kind of the chance you finally kind of had the chance to develop it in the commercials that you're doing?
Yeah, there aren't too many comedic things coming out of Cop 1's mouth.
No.
But comedy is what I've always kind of steered toward. I'd like to think I've always been funny. I'm sure if you ask my mother, she'd tell you that I'm a funny person. Probably to my detriment. Yeah, it was just something that I always really thought that I wanted to kind of jump into.
Yeah. One of the things we talked about last night when I first got to meet you, one of the things I also noticed is that you said, I'm very easygoing. I've got, don't worry, we'll talk about any kind of questions.
Yeah.
So very laid back, that kind of approach. You know, everywhere you go now, there are people, as soon as you walked in here last night, there was an instant lineup of people that wanted to meet you. Has it kind of been a little bit overwhelming from that perspective? Or is it something you just, again, you just kind of take it and got to go with roll with the punches?
You know, it can be overwhelming, I think, if you don't like people or if you don't like to talk.
Right,
but
right.
I just have a blabber mouth. And I enjoy talking to people, so
yeah.
I really enjoy when people come up and express how they either love the commercial or
yeah.
You know, it made them laugh or made their girlfriend laugh. I really don't mind when people come up, and it happens quite often. But because the questions are so, I mean, there's a broad spectrum of questions that it never gets old because someone's always asking me something different. Don't get me wrong, people usually ask to take my shirt off first, but that's usually the first question.
Yes.
And usually the last, too.
Yeah.
But I really don't mind at all. I enjoy it, you know. I enjoy talking to people about whatever it is that struck them about the spot or something else that they noticed.
One of the things I'd like to do actually is maybe roll another piece of video, and we maybe can take a look at some of the next version of the campaign that happened in terms of the customizing the different commercials. Lisa?
On YouTube, 12755JDH commented, "I love these commercials, and I love you. Monocle smile. And I've renamed my kingdom Elenopia. Presidential ab point. Please excuse me, I have another call." "Oh, hello, dangerous prairie wolf. This voicemail is now diamonds."
On day one, the campaign received 5.9 million YouTube views, more than Obama's victory speech after 24 hours. On day two, Old Spice had 8 out of the top 11 most popular videos on the web. By day 3, the campaign eclipsed 20 million views. And 1 week post-launch, the work has been seen more than 40 million times.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. So, when you signed your original contract, I know. Did you ever think you'd be doing, like, how many commercials, these customized ones, did you end up doing?
The response
Yeah,
videos?
the response ones.
Okay, let's see. We had a goal in mind
Yeah.
of what we wanted to do each day. And it was a pretty, at the time I thought, oh, we can knock that out. But I didn't know exactly what we'd be doing.
Yeah.
Because they didn't tell me what I'd be doing until I got there. And then when I saw it, I thought, oh, this will be fun. But we did, the first day we did like 36 or 37. And wait, but it gets better. And we thought, oh, 36, 37, okay. We can do better than that. So the next day, the guys, like, they didn't get any sleep, and I barely got sleep. And then the next day, we did 85, 86.
Oh, man.
and then we followed up. Well, that was our high day. So then we followed up, and we relaxed with like 50 some odd after that.
Wow.
But we did, I think, a total of 186 response videos. Some of those were also advertiser things that we had to send out to a different, like Walmart and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I can't express to you how seeing that process happen at that point in time, like that's when I actually knew something was like magical was happening, because to see that team work the way they worked and how the process and how everything kind of came about and the result, as you saw, was phenomenal.
Right.
I mean, like to see how hard the writers were working, to see people pulling in the questions and then going over to, I mean, it was a 7-minute process from the point of getting whoever was typing in saying, hey, Old Spice guy, can you blah, blah, blah? And then they would get that. Within 7 minutes, I would have a response ready for me to rattle off. And I mean, there wasn't really much time to memorize anything, so I don't know how I did it, but